This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, highlighting all of Section 3, interviewing the greatest local coaches and athletes. Brought to you by SummitCars.com, broadcasting in the ESPN studios. Here's your host, Mike Bristol, and Eagle Newspapers' Phil Blackwell.
All right, here we are on it, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the great Philly Blackwell. What's up, Blackie?
What a weekend we have here. Sectional championships being decided in basketball. We have 5 girls sectional champions. West Genesee, a 3rd straight title in Class AA. JD, an 8th straight title in Class A. South Jefferson edging West Hill in Class B. Cooperstown knocking off the top 2 seeds to win Class C. And Copenhagen, the top seed, winning in Class D. And tomorrow, the boys basketball sectional finals at the Dome. The hockey regionals tonight. Yeah, and state championships taking place in indoor track and swimming today. Otherwise, not all that much.
All right, we got a great show for you. We're going to kick things off with our Wegmans winning spotlight interview with Janesville DeWitt CBA wrestler Tyler Kellison. Yeah. And it's been quite a run for JD CBA wrestling program, whether it's having a string of individual Section 3 championships throughout this decade, team claiming sectional Class AA title a year ago, last week state championships in Albany. So Tyler Kellison, a 126-pound senior, made it all the way to the final bout, knocking out the top seed and then getting beat to the final stage there by only 1 single point. So he'll be here with us here in studio.
Yeah, great wrestling team, great wrestling performance. He was the only division wrestler to reach a state final round, and fantastic performance.
All right, then we've got our Avflex Spotlight interview with members of the Skaneateles girls ice hockey team. And, you know, maybe you don't know it, but one of the better dynasties in CNY high school sports exists right there at the girls ice hockey. Skaneateles has made Section 3 championships routine in recent years and twice have gone all the way to the state title. After yet another title, this winter the Lakers go to the state title game in Buffalo, and only to be denied by overtime by Williamsville. But 4 members will be here in studio. Megan Teachout, Grace Cush, Iona Christou, and Annie Rubel all will be here in studio.
Yeah, I mean, a great season for them as well. I mean, they've barely trailed in most of their games. The only regular season loss was like a 1-0 game to Ithaca, but they were dominant in the sectional tournament and in the States all the way to the finals, where they made about 3 different comebacks in that title game. It was a riveting title game decided in overtime, that close. And we're still a fairly young team. Just
like your marriage, riveting. How's your wife, by the way? What's going on?
She's doing fine.
Everything good?
It's all right.
Anything exciting? Make good dinner last night for you?
No, she was busy. I had the sectional finals. I was at basketball, so, you know.
Yeah, I get you. SummitCars.com spotlight interview with Liverpool Athletic Director Ari Lieberman. Why do we got Ari coming in studio?
We're talking about Unified Sports, about the great program that they've had for the last few years in basketball, bowling, the thing that they've brought in for kids with special needs students.
That's right, yeah.
And it's really, really exploded in growth statewide. And we'll talk about it.
Ari doing a great job there. That's terrific. All right, Phil Blackwell, Mike Bristol, and we've got Staff Sergeant Brian Petro, and, of course, our good friend, Mr. Mark Burns, Syracuse Recruiting Battalion. Burnsy, what's going on? How's life?
Good morning.
Good to have you.
Great Saturday morning. Great to be here.
I think, Burnsy, you might have to be a co-host, as like Petro's just talking about in 300 days or 278 days or what is it?
Yeah, my boss might not be listening, so we're going to talk about that.
So we've got the U.S. Army, what I thought was really cool, resiliency training. Talk about that, coping skills, decision-making skills, et cetera. Talk a little bit about that for us.
Well, every quarter, we kind of shut down and just take a look at ourselves, because we run, just like you, we run a pretty fast-paced business in recruiting. And one of the things we want to make sure is that our guys are rested and rehabbed and ready to go. So yesterday we had some resiliency training. That's why I dragged Sergeant Petro in here today. He's one of our master resiliency trainers, and I'll let him talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, see that. So Module 1, resiliency. Module 2, building mental toughness. Module 3, identifying character strengths. And Module 4, strengthening relationships. So go ahead, Brian. Talk about some of this.
So it's a lot of these skills that some people tend to overlook in daily life and also in professional life. But it's such an intricate part of working together as a team or an organization or any of that nature. And you have all these different skills that you really need to master. And when I was coaching basketball, I remember looking at some of our players, and they'd miss a free throw or they'd throw a bad pass. They come back to the bench, they'd stick their head down, and they'd feel like, they're doing really bad. And I could tell they really didn't know how to process that particular emotion at the time. So I'd sit down with them on the bench. I'd be like, hey, what did you do wrong? And they'd be like, well, I turned the ball over. And it's like, okay, no, but what did you do to turn the ball over? Look at the problems that happened and how you can fix them next time. And that's part of the resiliency and getting over some of the mistakes that you make. you can't change what you did, but you can change going forward on what you do next.
Yeah. Some of the I read some of this other stuff. MRT sustainment component, MRT enhancement component. Talk about those things.
So yeah, it's like a muscle. If you don't keep working on it, it's not going to get any better. And you really have to look at traumatic events in your life or good events in your life and how you reacted to those, and take those skills and move forward. And you're always adjusting to your own personal life and how things are working. And then it's also about moving forward with a team. So maybe one player or one person on that particular corporation or team has these skills and someone doesn't. And to maintain a healthy organization, you got to go to the people that don't have these skills and help bring them up.
So where do you learn some of this stuff? Where could you get to identify this or go online or what?
Oddly enough, a lot of this training is done Army in general, but you can go to here at the Army Recruiting Battalion here in Syracuse. We have master resiliency trainers, and we can come out to teams or schools or places like that, and we can conduct this training with the coaches or the athletic directors or things like that.
That's why you see it's broken down in modules, because it's pretty in depth. I think they when they learn this stuff, it's like a nine-day course, and we break it down since we a couple hours is what you can take at once. But yeah, if you contact us in my office at 315-479-8534, we can set something up. This program was actually set up originally by the University of Pennsylvania, and we're using their stuff. So,
all right, very cool. And then we've got obviously the U.S. Army Reserve Scholar Athlete Awards program. So let's talk about the recipients.
Coming in new. I know Phil's favorite time in the season with all the championships and sports award dinners and like that, all those rubber chicken dinners, and we do have available at no charge to the schools the U.S. Army Reserve Scholar Athlete Award program. The schools nominate one male and one female, junior or senior, and we have an Olympic-style medal that we present, or if the school wants to present it themselves, we have that, and a nice certificate to give these folks some recognition. Is for both academics and athletics, putting an emphasis on both.
You know, Phil needs an Olympic-style medal. Was that going to be coming in?
I don't need anything. I'm just fine.
I left it in my other suit.
I have
the
press
one with
passes.
Phil's name on.
That's press passes. That's enough.
Phil, press passes.
I got to give him a new hat too.
And free donuts, right? That's a big
Not
donuts.
that either.
You haven't any coaches bringing donuts lately. Usually, there's always a few that actually.
That's okay. I don't mind having to try.
I didn't get the call from McDonald's coffee this morning.
I know.
I thought about that driving in.
I grabbed one. You can see right here. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Staff Sergeant Brian Petro is going to be a future sports broadcaster, right? Is that the goal?
Honestly, I'd
Between
like
recruiting and sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
And Mark Burns obviously already is a professional broadcaster. He does that. You could do that Good Morning Vietnam, like
No.
that
More
Robin
soothing.
Williams when he played that character did.
That was an Air Force guy, but we do not hold that against him.
That's right. Well, that's right.
I think he just passed.
But
too.
he did, Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But you always say good morning. That's your thing here on the show.
That's right.
Go ahead, give us one real quick.
Good morning, Syracuse, and all the soldiers and sailors serving.
There you go. Perfect.
Soldiers and sailors. Let's not talk about the Navy or the Air Force or the Marines at all. Let's not bring them in.
Keep it on
Public
US Army.
service announcement.
That's right. All right, we'll be right back. Phil, what's on deck? What do we got? What's next?
We're going to have the St. Louis Girls Ice Hockey team very next on our show.
All right, that's why he's Phil Blackwell, the guru. Sports Hall of Fame.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back on it. Mike Bristol, Phil Blackwell, a great Saturday morning here. And just hanging out with my son Blakester. And now we're going to get right to our Affleck Spotlight interview with members of the Skinny Ellis Girls Ice Hockey team. And we talked a little bit about them here in the monologue. We've got in studio Grace Cush. What's up, Grace?
Hi.
Nice to see you. How are you? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good.
All right, so we're going to talk real close to the microphone when I'm asking questions. Great job. Iuana Cristo. What's going on?
Hi.
I like that name. Tell me, so where'd you get the first name? Is it a family relative?
Yeah, my grandpa.
Nice. Very, very cool. And what was your grandpa's name?
Yanni.
Yanni. So they went Iuani.
She's from Greece.
Greece. Nice. Appreciate that. Megan Teachout. What's up, Megan?
Hi.
And Phil was like, Mike, how did you meet Miss Megan when she first walked in the studio? So the superstar. Annie Rubel. What's up, Annie?
Nothing much.
All right, great job. So let's talk about this. A couple of weeks ago, let's talk about what stands out about the season. You know, first of all, I guess all that you guys accomplished, the way it ended, you know, so close to a title. Let's Megan, why don't you take that one first and talk a little bit about the season?
Well, this season was really special because we were all super close and we were like a family, and I think that's why we got so far. And unfortunately, we did lose an OT, which is hard, but we all took it how we took it, I guess. It was hard on us, especially the seniors, but hopefully they'll be back next year.
Hey, you'll get it going here a little bit. As I mentioned, we've got our Summit Car, or as I mentioned here, we've got our SummitCars.com spotlight interview. Skinny Ellis Girls Ice Hockey has done an incredible job. Ioana, let's go to you here for a second and talk about the season. Kind of the same type of question, but so close to a title.
It definitely was devastating losing an OT, but we knew we got so far, and we overall we did extend the season to the very end, and that's what we're very proud of.
Yeah, no question.
Especially being league champs and sectional champs.
Absolutely. And Andy, talk about that. League champs, sectional champs. What an incredible season.
We definitely worked. We worked really hard during practice, and we had weights after practice and stuff, and that helped a lot, getting us that far. And we just worked as a team, and that's how we got there.
Grace, you guys weren't behind in many games this season and rallied 3 times against, I think it was Williamsville, including the third period. Take us through that finish.
Yeah, so that was a crazy game. Coming back from, being 2 goals down, it was 4-2 at one point, and definitely there wasn't a doubt in my mind that we could come back from that. I know we had a lot of the momentum in the third period, and so when Meg did come back, got those goals, it definitely put us. We had a bunch of momentum going into OT. Really excited, and unfortunately, it was a weird bounce, and the ice cut kind of took some of the momentum away from us, I felt, and just couldn't finish how we wanted to.
So, Annie, from the time the season started, what improved the most, I guess, of this team? The offense, defense, both sides. Talk a little bit about that.
I think both sides improved because I think we got more comfortable working as a team together and moving the puck up the ice, and just overall good energy on and off the ice. So
that's how it was. Megan, you've had a special high school career, more than I think it's 100 goals here, and start skating 3, 4, 5. What was it?
I actually started skating late for playing hockey. I started playing in 4th or 5th grade.
Wow.
And I skated started skating 2 years prior to that, so I got skating lessons and stuff, and I just worked really hard to.
So you knew you wanted to play hockey. It was okay.
Yeah, all my friends.
You
played.
you weren't balancing hockey or figure skating. It was hockey.
Yeah, all my friends played, and I had a lot of guy friends, and they all talked about it. That's all they talked about, and I kept asking my parents, but they wouldn't let me for a long time. And then my dad got a new car, and I thought it was a good day to ask. And he was excited, and I was like, "Hey, can I play hockey?" I just kind of threw it in there, and he said, "Yeah."
That's pretty funny. That's going to be a good promo. On the defensive side, and Ioana, let's go to you for a second, but on the defensive side, you had a terrific goaltender, Evie Sheridan. Talk about her and what she did and the growth in the season and just how well she played.
I definitely felt extremely comfortable with her being in net. She did an amazing job, especially for being a freshman, and she has a bright future ahead of her. She definitely saved us a lot during the season. She made amazing saves, and we're extremely proud of her and the outcome.
So, Grace, let's talk about this. I'm going to ask all you girls this, but you look at the playoffs, you see what happens. Ithaca gets knocked off. Mm-hmm. Were you happy?
Be honest, how relieved were you?
We were actually pretty relieved, but also kind of a little disappointment because we kind of wanted to play them again just to show that.
Yeah, because you're a competitor, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want them to have the upper hand of the one game they beat us 1-0, and we wanted to come back and beat them, but.
Yeah. Annie, were you surprised?
Yeah, I was. I thought they were going to win, but I'm kind of glad Clinton won. But at the same time, like Grace said, I wanted to play them again.
Yeah. Megan, how about you with Ithaca?
So me and Ioana actually went to the game and watched. And when we were there, it was a big upset. I think for a majority of everyone that was there. So I was kind of relieved, but I actually did want to play them pretty bad to just get revenge and actually score on them.
Yeah, Ioana, same thing.
Like Meg said, we did go to the game, and it was when we showed up, it was 2-2, and then it was going into the second period, and Clinton scored 2, and we knew then that Ithaca was going to be out, but it was a pretty big upset for the season.
So congratulations to Andy here, your head coach, having a baby any day, right? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Had the baby 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Baby boy, baby girl, which one?
Boy,
All right, little hockey player?
hopefully.
Yes.
Hockey stick in his
I
hands?
think it's their 4th kid, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
4 kids, all 6 and under, something like that. I'm like, how do you manage? But anyway, I mean, you're with him all the time. Obviously, he's juggling both your coaching duties and fatherhood, and that's a lot of fatherhood. I mean, how do you think he manages all that stuff?
He treats us like we're his kids too. So
We nicknamed him Dad because he was like a dad
so
to us.
we're one big family. So I mean, I guess we could help out with the kids too.
You look at so many players back next season. I mean, think about the 2019-20 season. So girls kind of take that. Grace, why don't you go first? We'll go around. Talk about next season.
So next season's definitely going to be a change, definitely because a lot of our seniors this year that are leaving have been a pretty big aspect of our team so far. Annie, Soph, Meg, they're all going to be gone, which is sad because we're all so close. But I think we have a good future ahead of us. We have a lot of younger girls. We're a pretty young team, and we have some good young talent.
So Megan, talk about that. Moving on, what's next for you?
I'm not 100% sure yet, but college is definitely in the mix of
Your
things.
future?
Yeah, and definitely playing hockey wherever I go.
So you're looking at schools right now, kind of deciding?
Yeah.
Any top 5, top 3, top 2?
I have a top 2, which is Plattsburgh and Oswego.
Nice.
Yeah.
Both fun schools. Annie, how about you?
I'm playing lacrosse at Nazareth
Nice.
next year.
Fun too. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, go ahead. You gonna jump in one more?
Just one more thing. I mean, I'm looking at this, at your team, and I think you mentioned, Megan, that you started when you were not very young. I mean, does that help in the fact that you don't get burned out on the sport at a young age? I mean, a lot of kids start hockey very young, and then they burn out before they even get to this point. What do you think?
Well, I think it's all if you love the game, if you truly love it, and I do, and I could play it every single day of my life, and I wanted to play when I was younger, so I feel like if I did play when I was younger, I would still love it as much as I do now, so I think it's just how into it you are.
All right, that's very good. All right, let's go right around the board, and let's do some shout-outs. Grace, who do you want to give a shout-out to? Where do you want to go? Parents?
I'll give a shout out to my parents and my sister especially. She was a huge influence on me. Yep, Sophie.
Very cool. Ioana, how about you?
I definitely give a shout out to my mom and dad, especially for them driving me everywhere for hockey, and especially for my brother for getting me into hockey.
Nice. Megan, how about you, girl?
Definitely my parents because they take me everywhere, and my brother for making me the player I am today, because without him, I wouldn't be as competitive because I always wanted to beat him.
All right, Annie. How about you, Annie?
Definitely my parents. Like Mike said, they take me everywhere, and they're just really supportive.
All right, Phil, anything else? I think we're good. Who's on deck? What do we got on deck?
Got Tyler Kellison, who went to the state wrestling championships at 126 pounds this year.
All right, big round of applause. Skinny ass girls hockey. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show presented by SummitCars.com.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, great job. Phil always lining up terrific guests and doing a phenomenal job. We just talked girls skinny ice hockey here in studio. So now we've got our Wegmans winning spotlight interview with James will do it and CVA wrestler Tyler Kellison. Tyler, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
It's good to have you in studio. So 126, whole year 126, or did we bounce around a little bit?
I started out the year at 132. I wrestled a couple matches at 138. And then most of the second half of the year was 126.
Talk about the focus on weight. I mean, going 138 to 126.
My coach put me on a meal plan, and I started working on it at the end of the year, and it just helped me take the weight off a lot faster and easier.
What was the meal plan?
Just a lot of chicken, a lot of
protein,
carbs,
yep.
Protein, yeah. Just stuff that didn't stick in my body, a lot of grease and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you go from, and Phil and I were talking about this, strong individual Section 3 champions throughout the year, decade of team claiming, obviously, Section 3 Class A title a year ago. Last week's state championship in Albany, you made it all the way to the final bout, knocking out the top seed and then getting only losing by one single point. Talk about the whole run, the entire year, just this whole, kind of ups and downs, but you just pretty much dominated the whole season except for that last match, which you pretty much were there too.
Yeah. It was just a lot of support from my coaches and my family and stuff like that. Even when I had my downs of the year, they just told me to keep my head up, that the end of the year was the only thing that really mattered.
You going into the state tournament, obviously I would think that you had some pretty good confidence taken from the finishing third in the same event a year ago. So talk about that. Did you think about that, or that wasn't even a focus?
It was a little bit of a focus that I knew I had been there, and I'd made it to the semis the year before that, and I knew what it took to get to the finals. I just had to step it up a little bit and get it done.
Why stay at 126 instead of 132, 138?
I felt comfortable at 126, felt strong. I knew once I got down there the first time, the rest of the cuts would be not too bad. It was just, I felt that 126 was just the weight that I feel comfortable
Felt best at.
Yep.
Talk about like the Griffin brothers and some of the other guys, strong wrestlers that you've been around and learned from.
Well, they were the main reason why I kind of boosted my confidence, because they were the ones that really told me that I was better than I was wrestling and that I needed to step up my game and stuff. They had been there to the States the year before, so they kind of guided me through.
And the year before that, and a couple other times. I mean, 2 or 3 times, actually.
Yeah, they had guided me through my junior year, kind of telling me what to do, what I needed to do, how to get prepared for the big matches and stuff like that. So they helped me out a lot.
Any secrets or what? What do they kind of share with you?
Just let it fly. Just kind of go out there and wrestle how you wrestled the whole year. Just because it's on a bigger stage doesn't really change how you should wrestle.
In the state tournament, you were a little concerned that you had to face a familiar guy, CNS's, what was it, Nate Osborne?
Yeah,
right?
Nate, you'd be in the sectional
in the
final
quarterfinals.
Yep.
So talk about that.
Well, he's a real good wrestler. He started catching on to my wrestling style, and he's just difficult to wrestle because he has a really different style than most wrestlers do. But I knew once I got a couple takedowns that I'd be all right. But still, he's very tricky to wrestle because he never knows what he's going to do. He's just a funky wrestler.
He ended up finishing 5th, I believe, or 6th in the state himself. I mean,
yeah.
Didn't he have a big comeback in his last bout, or was it someone else? I'm trying to remember. But he finished 5th, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of has the ability to, obviously has a similar style. You're wrestling guys, you kind of study a guy, you kind of see a style. Was he someone that you just, what's he going to bring this time? Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, he is like that because he likes to wrestle a lot of upper body. So, like, when you get into weird positions, you never know when you can land up on your back and stuff like that. Is
it different? Has he learned some different things aside from wrestling moves, like different martial arts stuff, anything like that he's applied to a wrestling match and formulated? Any certain moves, anything that's different that you're like, wow, what was that?
Definitely his upper body's like a lot different than what I've seen before because he's wrestles a lot of Greco like at Mohawk Valley and stuff like that. Yeah. So like his headlocks and his upper bodies had helped him throughout the state because not a lot of wrestlers knew that he was a big upper body guy.
So, and do you guys spend time reviewing video or film or any of that kind of stuff or trying to see guys, or is it kind of you get in there and you got a little, some kind of a game plan? But
well, the first time I wrestled him in the class tournament, I knew he was an upper body guy, but I wasn't expecting him to be that good. But before the sectionals, my coaches worked on some headlock defense and stuff like that, stopping his upper body.
All right, very cool. We've got our SummitCars.com spotlight interview and talking to Tyler Kellison. Take us through the semifinal against top seed Zach Redding and what made you successful in that bout to get to the finals.
Well, I had wrestled him the summer before, and it was a close match before that, and he had beat me. So I remember that if I had kept it close, that it would be a good match at the end. So I knew that I had to wear him out throughout the whole match and keep it real close and just let it fly at the end and kind of go for it.
And you went through it. Phil Blackwell, go ahead. Phil Blackwell, Eagle Newspapers.
So, to remember that semifinal, I think you had a very late takedown, was it? How late was that one?
It was the last 10 seconds. I think I got it like right out of the whistle blew at the end.
Wow, because is it fair to say you had more adrenaline in that moment than probably at any time in your high school career?
Yeah, that was a very exciting moment for me.
Because you got the big crowd and you're knocking off a top seed, which doesn't happen that often, folks. If you look at wrestling tournaments, if you look at a lot of tournaments, very rare to see top seeds get beat before finals. It doesn't happen that often, but it happened here. And once that was done, Did you feel like, I can beat whoever's in the final?
I mean, I had a great amount of confidence going into the finals, but I knew my finals match was going to be tough because I'd wrestled him earlier in the season at a tournament before that, so I knew he was a good wrestler.
And that would be the Hilton wrestler, right? It was what was it? The Hilton wrestler, right?
Yeah, Ryan Burgos.
Now let's take us now to the state final. You come out, and I was seeing some of the introductions they were doing. The lights are out in the arena. I mean, what's going through your mind as you're walking out to that championship thing with all the other wrestlers? Big atmosphere, big crowd. Take us. What's going through your mind?
Well, I kind of just thought about it. It was just another mat, same size mat, same refs. Doesn't really change anything. But it was really exciting to see like all the spotlight down on the mat. Just everybody was watching. It was fun.
Yeah, and then you get into the championship match, and Burgos, you said you'd wrestled him before. I mean, take us through that bout as a whole, because it was a close one all the way through.
Yeah, I knew he was tough on top, so I was trying my best not to get underneath him, but he ended up getting on top, so I had to do my best from stopping him from doing his moves on top. But I just kind of wrestled, but I did get a little nervous throughout the match, I'm not going to lie, but it was a good experience.
I mean, at the end, you feel like could you have done anything different? I mean, when it's a 1-point decision, you're like,
In the first period, I could have done a little bit more on my feet. I kind of was a little nervous at the beginning, but throughout the match, it was a good match though. But I wish at the end I had gotten a little bit more chance to get another takedown or two.
Yeah, one takedown would have done it. I mean, or at least tied or whatever and escape. The thing is, when you have a thing when you're down 2 points late in the bout or down 1 point late in the bout, you want to get to a point where you can get another 2 point thing because if it evens out, because then you want to catch up because it's kind of weird. But, so very close. But anyway.
So what's next for you?
I'm committed to attend Appalachian State in North Carolina.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Did you go down and travel?
Yeah.
Check it out and all that?
Yeah, I've been down there 2 summers before this, and then I took my official during this summer.
Got to be excited.
Yeah, very excited.
What are you going to study?
Sports training, like physical therapy.
That's great too. Yeah. Yep. Outstanding. All right. Anything else, Phil?
No, I was saying the Appalachian State, for those people who know, it's a school up in Boone, North Carolina. It's up in the mountains, really in the mountains. It's like one of the gorgeous campuses. Yeah. And they have, obviously a budding wrestling program, and they're Southern Conference champions, is it?
Yeah, 4th time in a row.
Yeah, so the conference championship. He's doing a great program.
Yeah, you got to go there. Any shout outs? You want to give a shout out? Obviously, your mom.
Yeah, my family, all my supporters, all my wrestling coaches that have pushed me through all the hard times, and just all my team too. They supported me throughout the whole year.
All right, Tyler Kellison. Thanks, pal, for coming in the studio. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, good job, Phil, lining that up. We've got Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show. We'll be right back. Presented by SummitCars.com.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Bristol, Phil Blackwell. Phil always doing a great job here with all that he does, so we appreciate that, Phil. And Ari Lieberman in studio, and one of the better stories in recent years in high school athletics is the emergence of the Unified Sports, a program designed to provide the high school sports experience for students with various developmental conditions that might keep them from participating on regular teams. It started with basketball, has spread to other sports, and has grown fast across CNY and the state, too. So, well, why is Ari doing what he's doing? Because he's a good guy. So let's talk about the program and the success and the growth.
Well, thanks for having me this morning, guys. It's been an unbelievable 3 years now. Great venture by Special Olympics New York and our New York State Public High School Athletic Association. As you said, Mike, it was to give kids with developmental disabilities the opportunity to play on a team in front of a big crowd, have all the same opportunities our other kids have.
You know, as of this moment, how many schools, I guess, in Section 3 are taking part in the Unified Sports, and how many are interested in getting going?
Well, yesterday for the bowling culminating event at Strike and Spare, we had
they're holding the state championships next weekend, by the way.
Yes, they are. We had 16 teams there yesterday.
Nice.
It was an unbelievable event. A little shout to Mike Clonan for helping us get that together. He did a great job with that.
When all of you, I guess, could see the program, did you have any idea it would grow, I guess, as fast as it is, and especially locally?
I didn't think it would grow as fast as it did. You have to do basketball first. It's kind of one of the rules. And
Well, why is that? There's got to be some sort of handbook. Like, what's the point of
it's
that?
the hardest to do.
Okay.
So
they want to make sure you can pull that off.
Yep.
Right.
If you can handle basketball, and it's like anything, it's finding the right adults to work with those kids and the right partners for the kids.
Yeah, just like having a good teacher, you know. How vital to this program's success is the wide, I guess, participation, varsity, JV athletics, and, you know, coaches, the volunteers. It kind of stepped from exactly what you talked about.
Yes, that's one of the most important parts of this whole program. We hosted at Liverpool a youth summit for 185 kids the end of January to really talk about what it is in your school and how to promote it and how to make the unified experience, you know, what it is.
Is part of the lure, I guess, of the unified sports the fact that it's genuine competition. It seems like it's friendly. It's pure.
It's one of the best things that I've ever done and been involved with. Been involved with a lot of great things in multiple places, but this is something different. I think people grab onto it, obviously.
Yeah.
Parents, coaches, everybody. It's just great for the communities.
And Phil, jump in.
Now, you mentioned the summit. How many for the summit you had in late January? How many schools? How many kids? You had how many kids, but how many schools attended? And how many were interested?
We had, I don't know the exact number right now, but we had at least 16 schools there. We had the advisors from each school there, and Special Olympics New York and NISFA all there, in a joint venture to help it grow some more. It was a powerful day from a leadership point of view.
And then once you start basketball later this month, how many teams are going to be going this summer or this spring?
This spring around here we have about 10, but the Utica area, I'm not exactly sure how many they have. It's spread out that way too, down the thruway, so a lot more teams. So I think you'll see probably close to 24 next year for bowling, I would say.
Look at that, huh? Which is a blast too. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's such an easy participation sport. Now you have to get yourself. Not the thing. You have to get yourself in ridiculous shape to do it. But at the same time, the participation angle of everybody. having that many kids, and they can be really good at it pretty quickly. That's the thing. It's not like it takes to develop your skill. Explain that.
I think the big thing with the bowling specifically is the choosing of the partners for the athletes. We've had some of our varsity club athletes, Alicia Nash, who's a softball, volleyball player, as I'm sure you know, a great partner for those kids. I think that's the key, is cultivating that relationship.
Yeah, but that's true. Think about those kids and working with the other kids and what that does for both kids. That part is like the best part of it all, because it's not like it's just one kid getting something out of it. It's just create an unbelievable learning experience for both, and this bond that probably is formed. That's got to be incredible.
At the simplest level, that's the best thing about the program.
Yeah.
Now, for example, the basketball season. Give us an idea of the season, of how it involves regular season, postseason. Just give us an idea, because some people might not know that.
Yeah, the basketball season, obviously, as I said, was the first thing we did. It's really fun. Practice kicks off March 25th, and you must have a couple weeks of practice. Then we have 6 games, and we have a culminating event at Lemoyne. This year, it's supposed to be more of a championship setting. We do have
there was the high schools, I believe, last year. You were at West Genesee, I think, last year, or I think it was
2 years ago.
And now you're at Lemoyne. That tells you the growth right there.
The Lemoyne folks have been great. They've kind of partnered with us. We have a special ed teacher at Liverpool, John Sheridan, who works closely with Lemoyne. A great relationship there, and they enjoyed having us. They rallied for us with their student body also.
That's
great.
And now that you see this, are you seeing this? There's other unified sports programs, I think, also in other sections in other parts of the state too. How widespread is it now?
It has grown and grown over 3 years. We've had some early discussions about some different sports and how that could look, just expanding the number of sports for kids. And it has started in other sections, and we're hoping now that's our next step.
It's almost like, here in Section 3, here's an example of how this section is becoming a leader statewide. I can tell you, it's a completely unrelated example, perhaps, but Section 3 was one of the first sections to really get into all-weather fields. I hate to say this, but
You are
There wasn't a
correct.
lot of all other fields in other parts of the state, and all of a sudden every school
You
did
have
it here,
to.
and now they do it everywhere. For example, I mean, just
Yeah.
give me an example of, here there is leadership here in Section 3 on various things. It just doesn't, it isn't just beyond just the games and all that. So
What other sports are involved? Like how do you said hoops, bowling? Then how does it transition to everything else? Like
It's actually determined by New York State and the Special Olympics. Those two.
they'll come into a or school and say, "This is what you can do first, second, third, fourth," that kind of thing.
Just like Todd Nelson from New York State came to us at Section 3 at Athletic Council and said, this is how this goes. Who wants to get on board? And so it just started moving. So they would tell us what's next.
I have to say something about Todd Nelson. You saw this yesterday, didn't
I
you?
did.
no,
Yes,
what
I
now?
did.
No. At the state swimming championships, he does the welcome to this thing, which you would think is a typical dry introductory thing. No. He goes to the top of the
high
highest high board at the Nassau Aquatic Center on Long Island,
False
and then
in one.
dives off of it into the pool, fully clothed. And
Kids must have loved that.
oh, that place was going crazy. Just that tells you what kind of a guy Todd Nelson is right there. Not many of us would even think about that.
Do you know him
I do
previously?
I know Todd very well, yeah.
And just character or what?
He's one thing about Todd, he's kind of our rules interpreter. However, he's all about the kids.
Yeah,
Always.
which is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Good for him. That's great.
You want to also mention with Liverpool, we have the state indoor track championships going on. You guys had 23 athletes down there at Long
23
Island, or on
athletes.
Staten Island today.
We do.
awesome.
We have a ton of kids at the swim meet. We've got our cheer team at RIT in the States. We've got a gymnast at the States. So good weekend for us.
Yeah, we might have some of the Liverpool swimmers on our show next week, by the way. Have
Good.
them on talking about their undefeated season
Our
and sectional
son's
title.
in studio. What's your son's name again?
My son's name's Brig.
What's up, Brig?
Nothing.
Good. Here, Brig, come here. Talk on that microphone. Go ahead.
You should.
You play some sports. What's your favorite thing to do? Lego, sports. What do you got?
I play baseball
Nice.
and I also love to act.
No, you're an actor. I love acting. Is very cool. Can you sing?
Oh yes, he's done the anthem tons of times at
Yeah.
games.
Let me
I
hear a
mean-
little 2-second 3-second
No,
versions
no,
of singing.
no.
Come on, give me a little singing. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, say, can you see?
Nice.
There you go.
Jamming,
He
Brig.
does the
Oh,
right thing. He
that's
gives you a
good.
teaser
Good job,
and then
buddy.
makes you watch the rest later.
I love it. I love it. Great job, Brig.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. Ari Lieberman and Brig stole the show. ESPN Radio 97.7 100.1. Good job, buddy.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, so we've got Phil Blackwell here in the studio. And Phil, I wanted to talk about, real quick, if we can, I'd like to get to the fact that no one's ever going to forget the ice hockey sectional Division I championship game at the War Memorial. Syracuse, the defending champs, West Genesee, went at it through 51 minutes of regulation and 4 overtimes. Wildcats getting 52 saves from goaltender Chris Wells. I'm not going to tell you the rest. Set this thing up for us. Let's go.
Thing was, West Genesee was up 2-1. Syracuse tied early in the middle of the second period, and then it went on and on and on. Syracuse had all kinds of chances to win. West Genesee had 3 power plays in the third period, couldn't convert them. Syracuse had all kinds of chances through all the OT periods, couldn't convert them. Finally, it was Ryan Eccles, who scored on an odd angle goal in the 4th OT, just before they were going to go to a shootout, perhaps, that finally gave the Cougars the championship 3-2, and they're going to be playing tonight in the regional final against Section 5's Pittsford in the region, who won their own sectional final in double overtime, mind you, in the regional final tonight at Meacham Rink to see who goes to the Frozen Four in Buffalo next weekend.
On the other hand, the Division II ice hockey sectional final at the War Memorial was settled earlier, 3 times in a span of less than 3 minutes. Canales put in goals to jump out in front of Cortland Homer, and the Lakers never looked back, eventually prevailing 4-1 over the Golden Eagles, who were playing in their first title game in 20 years. Ryan Gick scored twice for Skinny. Sophomore goaltender Adam Casper, 20 of 21 shots he faced saved. And Syracuse Lakers get to play on the home ice in the regional final, though it lost the last 2 times it had its chance. Canales faces Section 6 champion Grand Island, Allen Arena, Saturday night to see who gets to Buffalo for the Frozen Four, and then we'll probably get them in studio again.
Yeah, Skinny Atlas, the thing was they just jumped on. The 3 goals in 3 minutes was just a shock to Cortland Homer, who had played Skinny Atlas close in both of their regular season games, tied them in one of them. But 3 goals that quickly And a great performance by Casper, who was not the goalie in the sectional semifinals. They've got 2 of them. They also have the other goalie, Falso. Chris Falso is the goalie for Skinny Atlas. He's played in the sectional semifinal. They went to Casper. He stops 20 of 21 shots. The defense was terrific. And now they'll play Grand Island tonight to see if they get to the Frozen Four in Buffalo next weekend.
We talked some wrestling, and during last weekend's wrestling championship in Albany, just one sectional wrestler, Central Valley Academy's Hunter Shout, claimed a sectional state title in 3 years at 145 Division II schools. He edged Letchworth's Chase Runfolo 3-2 in the finals. And also in the finals after Runfolo had been beaten, Marcellus's Cahill Donovan by the same score in the semifinals. We can talk about Phoenix's Rex McFarland. We go right through some of the schools here. Gene Mills, the whole crew. Let's get right.
Well, McFarland was interesting. He was in the 182-pound championship bout, and he was in the kite bout. And then he was accused by his opponent of biting a finger, and he got disqualified. And that was strange.
Sounds like something you would do, Phil.
About this. Phoenix was so mad about this. It wasn't even funny. And then because they didn't think it happened. But in a state championship bout, you call that, even if it seems pretty, small, and McFarland was denied a state title, perhaps that's pretty rough. Wanted to mention that. There were a couple other wrestlers that made state finals. Michael Rose made a state final from Lowville, and there were a couple others. But Hunter Schultz was the only one. And it was ironic because he lost the sectional finals to Cahill Donovan. They were the top 2 seeds going into the semifinals. But Donovan loses that semifinal by 3-2. And that same guy ends up beating him in the championship to get a second state title. And the only one for Section 3, unusual in that they might have, didn't have as many as normal, I guess.
All right, 2 sets of state championships take place this weekend. There's the indoor track and field, Staten Island's Ocean Breeze Complex. We're seeing Wise, Jeremiah Willis defends titles in the long jump and the triple jump, as well as Liverpool's Antoine Kelly is favored in the weight throw. Tully's Brooke Roberts, distance running. RFA Sarah Crockett, throwing events, favored in medal as well. And let's get to some of that,
Yeah, they're doing it right now as we speak on Staten Island. And we want to mention also the boys swimming championships, where you've got a couple of guys who have made finals, including CBAJD's Chris Bushnell, who broke his own record by 51.5 seconds, something like that, in the 100 backstroke to reach the finals, the overall finals. Very good efforts from relay teams from Watertown and Baldwinsville, and JDCBA's Lucas DeCaney finishing in the top 12 in diving as well in that event on Long Island. And we don't want to forget, of course, the boys basketball finals are tomorrow. In Class D, it starts with the Lime against, I believe, DeRider. And then in Class C, Cooperstown trying to take the title back. They're going to face I should know that. Utica Academy of Science, whom they lost to this season, but the top 2 seeds made it there. In Class B, the 2 North Country teams, Lowville, who made a ridiculous comeback from 11 down in the 4 minutes left, came back and beat West Hill. And now they're going to face General Brown, who knocked off Skinny Atlas. Then in Class A, the McKinney Bowl. You got it. Bishop Grimes against JD. Now in a final, not a semifinal, which makes the stakes even higher. And in Class AA, West Genesee trying to get their first title in 25 years against Utica Notre Dame, who knocked off top seed Corcoran, helped by 30 points from Jalen Wormack. Remember, the Jugglers won the Class A sectional title a year ago, and they're going to try to deny the Wildcats tomorrow night a boys-girls sweep, as Cooperstown's trying to do the same thing in Class C.
I love it. You always do an incredible job. So what's up for you now later today?
Well, the regional hockey finals tonight. Those 2 games up at one at Meacham with Syracuse playing Grand Island, and now at Allen Arena, Skinny Atlas facing Grand Island, Syracuse facing Pittsford. So those are the 2 big games tonight, and then the basketball finals tomorrow.
Yeah, so you're just bouncing all. You're good, nonstop going.
Crazy time of year.
Going, putting some miles on your car, doing your thing.
Yeah, too many.
How's your health and everything going? You look good.
Oh, fine. Doing fine. Trying to survive.
All right, reeled it all in. All right, buddy. Well, thanks so much. We'll obviously next week. What are we doing next week?
Doing a show. I hope.
Do we know who's coming on yet?
No, we hope to have Liverpool's boys swim team on. And many other guests. All right.
All right. It's going to be a great time. So on deck, we've got Skinny Atlas, we've got Syracuse pregame. Yep, Seth and the crew. So they do an incredible job here. Be sure to tune into that for Phil Blackwell. Mike Bristol will see you next week. And this is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show. It's presented by SummitCars.com. 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 SummitCars.com.